2 questions to ask yourself when you're just not feeling it, when motivation has left the building, when everything just feels like an uphill battle, when you're just not feeling motivated, and you just want to kind of jack it all in and jump on a plane and go somewhere sunny. The 2 questions I would ask myself in this situation are the following. The first one is, well, before you ask these questions, it's about how to ask yourself questions that are going to trigger your thoughts, that are going to kick you up the arse, that are going to inspire you to do something and to take action. Because if you're in a state whereby you're not feeling it, it's because your head is in a certain place. You're thinking about certain things. Your mental and moods are in a certain state, which therefore have a knock-on effect with what you're going to do or are doing or the way you feel, right? So one way of changing the way you are going to act and changing the way you feel about something that you have to do is to change the way you think about it, right? The example I always use is Roger Bannister. He was the first person to ever run sub 4-minute miles, and prior to Roger doing that, everyone believed that it wasn't actually possible. They didn't even entertain the fact that it was possible, because they actually thought it was humanly impossible. They thought you would actually die if you attempted to run that quick. However, the instant Roger smashed that 4-minute mile, suddenly people's beliefs changed. They were like, heck, someone else was able to do it, so maybe I could do it too, right? So coming back to these questions, it's about changing it's not just about changing what you believe, but it's also about changing the way you ultimately think about any given situation. So if motivation isn't there for you to do something that you are thinking about doing, it's because normally the way you're thinking about it or what you believe is possible isn't there. There isn't the urgency, there's not the belief. So the 2 questions I would ask myself are the following. The first one is, who is going to benefit? What are the benefits of me doing this thing? So say it's exercise, right? Who is going to benefit from me doing this exercise, even though I don't feel like it, even though I'd rather just sit on the couch and watch Netflix for the next 6 years? Okay, what are the benefits, or who is going to ultimately benefit? Is it just you? Normally it isn't, because there's that butterfly effect, there's that positive ripple effect that you have, whereby you look after yourself and then you feel better, and therefore the actions you take are going to have a positive impact on everyone else because of the way you feel. But then the second question, the other way to look at it, which is a question that a lot of people don't think about until now, is flipping it and thinking to yourself and asking the question, who suffers if I don't do this? Who suffers if I don't? Because us humans are wired to help other people. We're wired to look out for other people. We're wired to bust our balls more for other people than we are for ourselves. So if you can think about who is going to suffer, if you conjure up who is going to suffer if I don't do this, that generally brings up even more heightened emotions that are ultimately going to help you get off your bum. So in the case of exercise, it's, who's going to suffer? So it's not only you, it's if you're at home, it's the people around you, in terms of, because you're going to be in a stinky mood because you haven't exercised, or you're going to snap at the kids, or your productivity is going to suffer, therefore you're not going to do as well with your work, so your job's going to suffer. Like, bring up all of the people or things or knock-on effects that there are going to be in terms of if you don't do it. And if you can find more people that are going to suffer than, say, people that are going to benefit, then usually it's going to be that thing that is going to help trigger you to not just feel like doing it, but actually going to do it. Because there's a fine line, there's a gap between you suddenly feeling like doing something and you actually taking action, and that usually involves a couple of seconds of you giving yourself too much time to think about something before doing it. So once you have the feeling, once you have the motivation, what's really important is then to take massive action as soon as you can. So once you feel inspired to go and do the exercise or whatever it is, get that kit on as quickly as possible and then leg it out the door and go for that run. Or if you're inspired to go to the gym or go and do your workout or whatever it is, get started. The quicker you get started, the more that you work the discipline, your self-discipline, the more that you work this as a muscle of any other kind, like any other kind, and the more in time you become more disciplined, you become more resilient, you become more self-reliant, and you don't have to then wait for motivation to just come along and slap you in the face. You can actually conjure it up yourself, because you ask these two important questions. One, who is going to benefit if I do X, Y, Z? And more importantly, who is going to suffer if I don't achieve or do X, Y, Z? They're the two questions. I hope these were of help to you. If they were, then drop me a comment below this video. And yeah, right now, ask yourself those two questions and find yourself doing and being and having more than you currently are if you're feeling unmotivated or just not feeling it right now.